I identify as non-binary. With that said, I'll officially be changing my pronouns to they, them.
My very good friend, Alok vaid-menon. Thank you so much for being here, Alok.
Congrats on coming out as non-binary.
Thanks.
Oh, hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope everyone's doing well. I am in an amazing mood. I feel like I've been in an amazing mood ever since leaving Los Angeles. Like every day is just a really good mood for me. With the only exception being when I film, I don't have a designated like cool looking spot to film yet. I'm working on it. So right now you're just getting me in my closet. Been a while since I was in the closet. Today's video is about Demi Lovato, a very famous pop singer, ex-Disney star, and now turned transgender activist since coming out of the closet as non-binary.
I identify as non-binary. With that said, I'll officially be changing my pronouns to they, them.
We have two disclaimers today, okay? Even though I'm gonna be slightly dragging Demi in this video, do not send any negativity or hate towards Demi on my behalf. That would be very ugly. And the second is that Demi's pronouns are they, them, and I just know myself. I know that I'm going to slip up and the YouTube gods will be very mad at me for doing that. So I'm going to attempt to just say Demi in place of any pronouns throughout the entire video. Love you, YouTube gods. So I've never done a dedicated video on this, but over the last few years, you guys will probably have noticed that I've been highly critical of celebrities coming out as trans because I feel like some, not all, but some do it in a way that is disingenuous, attention seeking, and is basically a ploy for positive headlines and for clout in their career. A big part of celebrity and maintaining relevance and celebrity status is trend hopping, and unfortunately I feel like there are some incidents in the mainstream media in which celebrities will take on the trans label for just that. Now, does that mean every celebrity that comes out as trans is lying or disingenuous or clout seeking? Absolutely not. I mean, say what you want about Caitlyn Jenner, love Caitlyn, hate Caitlyn. She's trans, which by the way, Caitlyn, you flaked on me on coming on my channel even though you said you would, and then you lost your election. But hey girl, I could have got you a couple more votes, sis, and you know that, but okay. But there are other celebrities that come out as trans, and you'd be lying if you said that collectively we didn't raise our eyebrows at them, whether or not you said anything or not, because you're probably gonna get backlash if you say something. But there are those ones that we look at like, are you really trans or is this like a ploy for attention? Because celebrities literally make their living off of attention. And a lot of us, not me, I'll say it, but a lot of us don't want to say anything about it because you'll be labeled as transphobic, even though the irony of that is if someone is using a transgender label or the trans community for fame, money, attention, or to get their way out of a bad publicity spree, which is what I think happened with Demi, we'll get into that. That's really transphobic. So you wouldn't be the transphobic one for calling it out, but everything's backwards these days, so. Now, whether or not Demi is really trans doesn't really matter to me. What matters is Demi's behavior since taking on the trans label and the ways in which the things that Demi does now as this public trans person reflects on trans people and people like me. We're gonna get into all my grievances with Demi, but to kind of list them before we jump in, coming out and referring to gender reveal parties as transphobic, which is basically delicious red meat for people who don't like trans people to say, look, there they go again, attacking something as pure and innocent as someone celebrating the gender of their baby and saying that we're hateful for it, making us look dumb. When in reality, it's literally just Demi saying that. I've never seen anyone else saying that. Since coming out, Demi has also really heavily promoted and platformed Alok vaid-menon, a trans activist who has been on record making really inappropriate predatory comments about underage girls, and then ignoring it when the internet's letting her know, hey, this person is potentially a pedophile, and continuing to promote them anyways, because if someone's trans, apparently they can't do any wrong, unless it's me.
My very good friend, Alok vaid-menon. Thank you so much for being here, Alok.
Congrats on coming out as non-binary.
And just overall, the way Demi really talks about being trans really delegitimizes it and makes it seem as if it's a fad or somehow related to the length of your hair or your haircut. The timing of Demi coming out is also very suspect in my opinion. So many people don't remember because the way the internet and the mainstream media moves, some stories get buried very quickly if a bigger one comes out. In April of 2021, Demi Lovato was in a really big scandal after being accused of harassing a small business, a frozen yogurt shop, taking to Instagram stories, sending a hate mob towards them because they had the audacity to have sugar-free products in their store. Apparently that triggered Demi's ED or something. Like, it was just very ridiculous, and the internet was on fire. The mainstream media was even jumping on it, like really criticizing Demi, like, why would you be attacking this business? The Demi hate train was real at that point. And then 1 month later, and the hate train was still going on, Demi comes out as non-binary. Immediately it was from negative press to exclusively positive press. Everyone was clapping at how amazing and brave Demi was for coming out, and that whole scandal was erased. So forgive me for putting two and two together and feeling like that's a little bit suspicious. So at this point, Demi has this newfound vigor and platform and respect as a public, famous trans person overnight, which is a little bit ridiculous to me. And Demi's feeling comfortable slinging out accusations like people who celebrate gender reveal parties are transphobic and biological sex doesn't exist, and just all this activist stuff, which to me, I have a right to comment on as a trans person. If you're going to be doing activism on my behalf, I can respond to it. But that is nothing in comparison to the fact that Demi then decided to start platforming and pushing out vaid-menon. Now, I did an entire video on vaid-menon. I'll put it in the description. But what you need to know most importantly is that Alok has been on record to have published pedophile comments about kids. Now, forgive me for thinking the world has any sense. But that's something that should never be okay, and just because you are trans or non-binary, you shouldn't get a pass for that. And by all means, it seems as if that's exactly why Alok's gotten a pass for that, because as long as Alok can be, seen with celebrities like Demi, pushing out the ideology of the community and saying all the right things, suddenly that doesn't matter. When any other person in general would never get away with saying any of that. And it is literally impossible for Demi, or at the very least Demi's team, to not be aware of these comments, because any video Demi has done with Alok, which has been numerous, the comments are lit up with people trying to make Demi aware. And yet Demi continues publishing Instagram photos, YouTube videos, working with Alok, maintaining this friendship and this business relationship, when it's like, what are you doing? Because I will stick by my friends through a lot of mess, okay? 99.9% of things you could do as my friend, and as long as you're not betraying me or hurting me, I will stand by your side and defend you right or wrong. I'll tell you in private you're wrong, but in public I will always defend you. Unless it's anything related, and that's a whole different territory. Why is this your move? Like, making us look ridiculous, or even worse, like we're condoning predators in the community like Alok. I want to take a step back though and put away the idea that this is nefarious action on behalf of Demi or disingenuous action, because maybe that's not correct. Maybe it's something else. And I'm going to say this as softly and with as much compassion as I possibly can, because this isn't a joke. So anyone who maybe wants to twist my words or say that I'm making fun of or bullying for this next thing I'm going to say, that's on you, because I know my heart. I don't think Demi is necessarily all there. And by all there, I mean mentally well, mentally healthy and sound. In 2018, Demi Lovato relapsed on heroin and overdosed, resulting in multiple strokes, a heart attack, and permanent brain damage. What does brain damage as a result of an overdose do to someone's psyche? I don't know. And I want to make it clear that brain damage doesn't result in someone thinking or identifying as trans. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I could picture a situation in which someone who does go through that and does have that permanent brain damage ends up confused about some things. I mean, Demi's currently on a press tour doing talk shows talking about how they were visited by aliens. There's a video of Demi singing to extraterrestrials.
I have trauma too. So I feel you and I get it. Do you like to sing, Carmen? Like I'm made of paper.
And is it politically correct to bring all of this up? No, but that's okay. Are all of those things that you should consider when getting your information about transgenderism or trans people from someone? The fact that they have had an overdose, brain damage, believes in extraterrestrials visiting them personally? Probably. Does that mean Demi is a bad person? Obviously not, and I wouldn't wish what Demi went through on anyone, but does that mean you should take things that are said from this person with a grain of salt? Absolutely. I simply resent the idea that this person is being promoted, plastered, and platformed as a representative for people like me, and is also promoting people like Alok. Like, not even, we don't have to make it about me personally, about trans people in general. I just lost a nail. That's how stressed out I am. There was a really big crack in Demi's trans narrative recently that pissed off the community, and I think kind of backed the idea that it's possible that Demi is really just viewing this as a trend or something for right now for them. Demi made statements recently saying that who knows, Demi might identify as trans in the future or not, might go back to feeling like a woman or not, might feel like a man, and basically it's all up in the air what Demi decides over time. And some reactions on social media were the following. Usually I don't question anyone's identity, but what is up with Demi Lovato? They're giving Trisha Paytas vibes. How do you say there might be a day where I identify as trans? Either you are or you aren't. That's really not an identity you can choose. I agree with that. Demi Lovato, I'm non-binary and one day I might even want to be trans and later on I might be a woman. Me, congratulations on not knowing what any of these terms mean but loudly using them anyways. So true. I cannot be the only person who can't stand Demi Lovato. There might be a time where I identify as trans. Girl, you are slapping people in the face who have felt uncomfortable in their own bodies since they could remember. You're so self-involved, oh my God. And I agree with those. I think self-involved is a really great word to describe Demi's behavior. And that's the reaction from the community, which actually gives me some hope because usually the community is completely like, will never criticize anyone's identity at all, ever. But it is good to see my community calling BS out as they should. And usually they don't, so I'm proud. Thank God. Long story short, the moral of this video is whether or not Demi is trans, I personally feel, and it's my right to speculate about a celebrity, I personally feel that it is an attention grab. I think that it was an effort to avert a crisis, a publicity crisis that Demi was in, and I think it worked flawlessly. But even if I'm wrong and it is coming from a genuine place as far as Demi, I still say to everyone, please take what Demi says with a grain of salt when it comes to trans issues. Demi is not an authority. Demi has lived this life as a non-binary person for 2 minutes, and y'all know my opinions. I don't think that a non-binary person is an educator on someone like me, a trans person who's transitioned. I think those are very different things. And also to have compassion for Demi, I know I do. It just all seems like it's coming from a place of being very unwell, and that's my own opinion. Obviously, I'm not a doctor diagnosing anyone, but at the end of the day, when you're a public figure, you can have people speculate on you. I'm speculating on Demi. Y'all speculate on me. Why can't I speculate on Demi Lovato? I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as my second channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.